Good evening, Griffins. Whether you're heading up or down or all around the city, we've got the lowdown on the ups and downs of 71st. First, on the lift side of things, the long-awaited Nugent elevators are back in action. 6 months, countless wires, and mysterious gadgets clogging the hallways, we're on the move again. And hopefully longer than last time. But remember, if it's just one floor up, consider giving those legs a workout. After all, we don't want the elevator anxiety making us late for anything now, do we? So whether you're pressing up on that elevator or dodging diplomats downtown, keep your patience, your wit, and maybe an extra snack. Until tomorrow, this is Abby signing off. Stay elevated, New York.
Hello and welcome new and returning Griffins to the fall 2023 semester at Marymount Manhattan College. My name is Jess Garcia and this is your MMTea. Now, third year of using Brightspace, the app version, Pulse cannot seem to keep up with the changing of classes from the spring 2023 session to fall 2023. Returning students have reported error reports from the app and are unable to see their current classes. And they cannot view them via the website format on the app either. And we're not even going to talk about the Astra scheduler, which looks like it was made in 2003 and hasn't been touched since release. If we can spend thousands of dollars to make MMC engaged, surely Pulse or our school's room scheduler should be able to work. Someone, get to the bottom of it! Back on the topic of questionable changes, we have lost Cooper Square! The beloved yet barely livable tiny apartment quarters of Cooper Square on East 6th Street has been allegedly sold to NYU. This unfortunate turnover, however, has moved our transfers and upperclassmen to Found on 45th and Lexington. While this change may be positive with shorter commute and bigger living spaces for some, Marymount students now share a huge building with other colleges. Anyways, Marymount, thanks for listening in. That's all for MMT and your midday break. Have a great week, Marymount. I don't know, I thought that was funny. We enter a world that should be pretty familiar to everyone here. Welcome to New York City, baby! The actual subway side that I will be looking at. Rockefeller Center.
I gotta, sorry, it's so crazy over here.
Claire, please.
Oh, gotta go, bye.
As I am, because I am a f***ing statue.
You are, and I'm really proud of you for that.
And that's New York City, baby.
Okay, do you guys...
Good afternoon, Griffins, and welcome to the Timeout, the show where we sit down and talk about some of the biggest stories in all of sports. And today, we're going to talk about the biggest move of the NBA offseason, the Damian Lillard trade. So for those of you who haven't kept up with the story since the beginning, let me catch you up. Damian Lillard was the biggest superstar point guard of the Portland Trail Blazers for the past decade. Though he's one of the most electric players we have ever seen in the league, he just couldn't win. The team around him was just never good enough, and the fans cried for him to request a trade to contending teams so he could win a ring. And he responded with, "I'm sticking with the grind," or "I'm a Blazer for life," refusing to leave in the offseason or request a trade. And as his team does practically nothing to help him win or improve around him. And with these past 3 seasons have been the possibly worst of his whole career. Missing the playoffs twice and getting knocked out in the second round despite having the greatest performance of his entire career. So he finally gave in and finally requested a trade. And after months of speculation, we finally have the destination. Damian Lillard is a Milwaukee Buck. So the Lillard trade came down to this: a 4-team trade between the Blazers, Bucks, Celtics, and Suns. The Bucks got Damian Lillard. The Trailblazers got DeAndre Ayton, Toumani Camara, Malcolm Brogdon, Robert Williams, a 2024 first, a 2029 first, another 2029 first, and 2 pick swaps. The Suns received Grayson Allen, Keon Johnson, Nazir Little, and Yusuf Nurkic. And the Celtics got Drew Holiday. So the Bucks are the easiest winner of this trade. Giannis Antetokounmpo threatened the organization with not signing an extension to his contract, basically telling them, hey, if you don't get me some help now, I'm going to leave next summer. And Milwaukee answered swiftly by getting him the best teammate he could have possibly asked for. Him and Dame play so well off of each other. So well. Giannis' size and strength make him a monster and a nightmare to defenses in the paint. And Dame, with his quickness and scoring ability, stuns them as he shoots threes and other long balls. This is an all-time great duo. They didn't even play a game together yet. The only downside to losing is losing Jrue Holiday's defense, but with how good this team was defensively before, they didn't really need him. I'm not much of a betting man, but if I had to put a couple bucks, I'd put it on the Bucks to win it all this year. The Celtics got the major upgrade they need. They saw a conference rival get a great player and said, we need to get better too. So they made a huge trade to get the guy Dame ended up replacing on the Bucks. Jrue Holiday is a major improvement from Marcus Smart, and in my opinion, not just a better offensive player, but the best defensive player in the entire league. And having a guy that gives you all league defense and good offense as your fourth best player, that's a win in my book. The Trailblazers had a great trade considering they lost their best player in the face of their franchise for the past 10 years. But as they always say, if you love something, you have to let it go. And luckily, the Blazers got something back in with health issues and isn't the defensive player he once was. The Suns have their big three, but past Katie and Beal and Booker, this team isn't much. It's just a bunch of guys, and I won't be surprised when they get knocked out in the second round because of their poor defense and bench that got plugged up by duct tape and dreams. Alright, y'all, that's it for today. Hope you had as much fun watching as I had hosting. And I'll catch y'all next time. Fitz, signing out.
Good afternoon, Gaming Griffins. I'm Abby, and this is Griffy's Gaming Corner. For Overwatch fans, a new support hero has been introduced in this season's Battle Pass. Alari, a hero who accidentally killed her whole town with her abilities, has both the power of the sun and is super useful and super annoying to play against when people are actually good at her. Her abilities include a pylon, of which my friends have dubbed Ryan, which is really useful for contesting point. She also has a movement ability that blasts enemies back, and her ult, which when paired with the right team, is absolutely devastating. I mean, I hear...
Face the sunrise!
Face the sunrise! And I'm running. Overall, this Battle Passes content doesn't have a theme, but it's still super cute. Along with this, the best hits are back in shop. So you can pick up all your favorite legendary skins. Skins like Beekeeper Sigma, Ice Queen Echo, or the Cassidy one I can't remember the name of. Even with all this fresh new content that could satisfy anyone's craving, Overwatch players on Twitter still think we need more content. I think it's best to finish this segment with this amazing quote from a Twitter user. Overwatch is actually a good game, unless you have someone complaining about it in your ear how garbage it is. Next up, making massive waves in the TikTok community in particular, Baldur's Gate 3 was released and everyone is raving about love interests, character customization, and more. Baldur's Gate 3 is simply a Dungeons & Dragons game in an actual video game form, with rolling a d20 dice for choices, whether it be romance or absolutely decimating a squirrel. This game is actually a really cool inspired take with amazing voice actors. Critics agree, giving the game a whopping 10 out of 10 on Steam. To put it in perspective, Elden Ring won Game of the Year and still only scored a 9 out of 10 on Steam. A major fan-acclaimed component of the game is my beloved Neil Newbon, who voices Asterion, the vampire who holds a knife to your throat the first time you meet him. You can see why he's beloved by fans. Neil Newbon's involvement in this game is just another great addition to his already stacked resume, with famous games like Detroit Become Human or Resident Evil Village on his roster. You can find Baldur's Gate 3 on PC, both Mac and Microsoft, and on PS5. Sorry, Xbox users. And that's it for me. Have a great day, Gaming Griffins.
And that's Malibu's finest. It's a great story. Bullshit. But great. You should seriously consider becoming a screenwriter. What in the actual fuck?
Good evening, Johnny Cage. I am Liu Kang, protector of Earthrealm. May we enter?
Good afternoon, Gaming Griffins. I'm Alex, and I'm going to start by saying that 2023 has been a crazy year for games. Top releases such as Resident Evil, Dead Space, Star Wars, Street Fighter, and much, much more. But of all the games that were announced to release this year, Mortal Kombat 1 was extremely anticipated after an unceremonious announcement during Warner Brothers executive meeting. All right, so let's get right into it. Mortal Kombat 1 is a continuation and the starting off point of a new timeline created by Liu Kang. Not wanting to get deep into spoilers because I know people do want to check out this game because it's really fun, but I will say that the amount of twists and turns on this game are amazing. So, we are continuing off from where Liu Kang has created an entirely new timeline. We are now following new heroes, Raiden and Kung Lao, which were previous heroes in previous games, but these are brand new versions of themselves. And honestly, they were a lot of fun to play with and a lot of fun to get to understand, especially in this new timeline. Now, the whole purpose is that we are going back into a brand new Mortal Kombat tournament, one less savage than the previous timelines, but still just as much fun. But there are also some strange things happening in Outworld, and that is the whole point of this game, is to find out what's going on in Outworld and how they're going to be able to save both Earthrealm and Outworld, and maybe even more. Now, overall, this game's story was absolutely phenomenal. I really enjoyed so many parts of it, getting to know characters, such as Kenshi's story, who was not really investigated a lot into in previous games, but this one they went a little bit deeper, and it was honestly nice to see. There are some moments in the story that do feel a little bit forced in, but nothing too drastic to where I felt like it totally ruined the game.
In mine, I became Time's Keeper. In yours, it was you. In others, it could be Jade, Sindel, even Kano. The possibilities are endless.
If many timelines sprung from one, and we were both part of it, then you are my Liu Kang.
Alright, so now let's talk about the voice acting, because the voice acting in this game was absolutely magnificent, with returning actors such as Steve Bloom as Baraka, Andrew Bowen as Johnny Cage, and Matthew Yang King as Liu Kang. We also got a lot of newcomers, such as Alan Lee, who voices Shang Tsung, and Jacob Craner as the voice of Havoc. Now, all of these characters really were amazing, and their actors really brought them to life. It was such an amazing thing to watch. However, we do need to talk about the thing in the room that just drove me insane. Whoever cast Megan Fox as Natara in this game needs to be fired because, oh my god, that was horrible. That was the worst experience I had ever played. Every time I had to fight Natara, I was afraid. Not because she's an incredibly good fighter, because I was afraid she was going to talk to me. But all in all, it was still a pretty good cast. I mean, everyone else really carried it for them. But even with all these flaws, I do have to say this game was absolutely amazing and phenomenal. After coming from an extremely ambitious game like Mortal Kombat 11, Mortal Kombat 1 is definitely up there with some of the greatest fighting games. And that's been my segment. Thank you guys for watching.